Call meeting to order. We have a few things on the agenda we have to take care of before we start the cases. First thing would be roll call.
Terry Griffin,
Present.
David Rodas,
Present.
Mike Brinkley,
Present.
Brad Scarlett,
Present.
Marvin Davis, and Tom Decker.
Okay. Second on our list is we're going to need to nominate a chair and a vice chair. Do we have any nominations or motions for anyone?
And let's do chair first, if we could. We'll do nominations for chair first.
Chair, yes.
I nominate Tom Decker.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Brad Scarlett,
Yes.
Terry Griffin,
Yes.
Mike Brinkley,
Yes.
David Rodas.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Now, could we have motion for a vice chair?
I nominate Brad Scarlett.
Second.
You ready for roll call? Terry Griffin,
Yes.
Mike Brinkley,
Yes.
David Rodas,
Yes.
Brad Scarlett.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Congratulations.
And so Brad, you'll take over at this point.
Okay, are we ready for the first case to be heard? Or is there any other business on there?
We have approval of the January 3rd, 2023 Planning and Zoning Commission minutes.
There is a correction that needs to be made on the minutes on page 3. There is a line item that says Mr. Davis voted yes. For the replat of Lot 9 and 10 of Private Garden, that should say Mr. Scarlett. Mr. Davis was absent. Move to approve the corrected minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve.
As amended.
Amended.
Are you good with that, Counselor? Can they make the motion with the amendment? Okay.
Second.
Vice Chairman, are you ready for a roll call vote?
Yes, call for a roll call vote.
David Rodas,
Yes.
Terry Griffin,
Yes.
Mike Brinkley,
Yes.
and Brad Scarlett.
Yes.
Motion carries.
And we're moving to case number February 23-109, RZ/P, a request for rezoning from agricultural district to residential rural district with an agricultural land preservation overlay district, preservation overlay district for only proposed lot 1, and residential ranchette R5 district with an agricultural land preservation overlay district for only proposed lot 2, and preliminary plat approval for the proposed subdivision McKinney Family Farms. Can we have the staff report, please?
Yes, and would like to add the staff report as part of the official record. So McKinney Family Farm, got it pulled up on the screen. So currently it's one parcel outlined in yellow, approximately 25 acres. It's unplatted. It's zoned agricultural. It has access on the east side from C Highway. There is a blue line stream that runs through that wooded area. And there are some existing structures on the land. So you can see the two little orange dots there are a couple farm buildings. And then the one building that I want to talk about is there in the red. So did some research. The property owner helped us with the research. That building was a early 1900s building that if you look on where that green line just popped up. So that building was built in the early 1900s. There's a fence line where that green line is. That's where everybody thought the property line was until they did this plat. And the property line is actually where the yellow line is. So that building encroaches on the neighbor's property to the north. So you'll notice one of the conditions is that the lean-to that encroaches on the neighbor's property be removed before the recording of the final plat. Now, since the building was built so long ago, it's considered non-conforming, so it's allowed to be closer to the property line than a normal building, but it cannot cross that property line, so that section has to be removed. So the proposal is to create 2 lots. You see the roughly 19, almost 20 acre lot in green that would be zoned R1 because that's the county's current standard for zoning from 10 up to less than 20 acres. And then lot 2 would be in purple. It would be zoned R5 because that's our current standard for lots that are 5 but less than 10 acres. There would be an agricultural land preservation for each lot. And I'll talk about that a little bit here in a minute. When we get, just to give everybody a little background, when we get an application like this, staff looks at several things. We look at the road frontage for each lot. For lots that are larger than 5 acres, we require, or the county's code requires that there's 300 feet of road frontage per lot. These lots meet those requirements. And we also look at width to depth ratio. So that's what that red line is indicating, is you take your road frontage times 4, and that's the maximum depth a lot can be. You measure the depth of the lot from the center line of the front property line to the center line of the back property line. Both of these lots meet or do not exceed that requirement, so they're good on that end. We are proposing to add utility easements to the outside of the property lines that you can see indicated in the yellow in case utilities need to be put in. And then there is an agricultural land preservation that is required by the Land Development Code for each lot, and that's highlighted in the blue. So that's done on based on acreage. So the 19-acre lot is required to have 30%, and that's really a way to preserve a portion of the lot. It's designed to preserve like wooded areas, ponds, streams, things like that. It basically becomes a no-build zone for a house or an accessory building. You could still run cattle, build a farm building in there. You just can't go and clear cut wooded areas or put a house or an accessory building in there. So in the big lot, it's this area here. On the smaller 5-acre lot, it's to the south of the lot. The property owner gets to pick that area, and that is considered a zoning. So if that would ever be changed, a rezoning would have to be applied for. So here's the surrounding area. That is the subject property we're talking about in orange. All these purple lots that are flashing up, and those could be multiple lots. You can see them there kind of in the orange as well. Those are either R5 zone lots or R1A, which is the old standard for the 3 to 10 acre lots. The reason I'm highlighting those is those are similar lot sizes to that 5-acre lot. So you can see all of those are similar lot sizes. Then we have Smithville Lake to the north, and then the ones in yellow are the R1 zone lots. So those are lots that are from 10 to less than 20, which are consistent with the 19-acre lot. So you can see there's quite a few in this, of those in this area, and then everything else that we didn't put a color on are properties that are still zoned agricultural. So I'll just kind of go back through it again. These are the R5 zone lots, Smithville Lake, and then the R1 zone lots. And there's the map as it exists now. So with any case, we talk about the comp plan and the land development code. The comp plan tells us this is in the natural resources tier. The reason that's relevant is a 20-acre lot is acceptable throughout unincorporated Clay County. But depending on what tier it's in, that will tell us what size lot you can do. In this case, 5+ acre lots are okay as long as you include an agricultural land preservation. Then we have the 5 criteria in the land development code. You hear those, or we talk about this with our monthly cases, but I want to point out a couple of the highlights. Is the first one says the proposal, you should consider whether or not the proposed amendment corrects an error or inconsistency or meets the challenge of a changing condition in this area. We kind of just showed you how we feel this meets the area, and I believe we're also correcting an error, even though I don't think it was done on purpose. We're getting that building off the adjacent property owner's land. The next criteria states that it should be consistent with the comp plan. We believe it is because they're doing the 5+ acres with the ALP. The next one talks about development that is compatible with existing uses and zoning of nearby property. We believe it is, as we showed you on the surrounding area. And then we'll talk about this a little bit more here in a minute, but we should be able to provide adequate public facilities. So that means we want to make sure we can get a driveway permit, get a water meter, get a septic system on each lot, because there's no reason to create additional lots if they're not buildable lots. And then the last one says, should not result in a significant adverse impacts on other property in the vicinity of the subject tract. So we believe the lot sizes meet the surrounding area, and they're going to be used for one house per parcel. So we believe it matches this area. So here's some additional information. As with any of our cases, we published this in the newspaper. We posted a sign on site. We sent 7 certified letters. We have not received any opposition to this point for this case. And then with any case, we reach out to outside agencies to, again, make sure we're creating a buildable lot. So those included MoDOT, who approved existing entrances off of C Highway, the Health Department, who reviewed and approved morphology reports for each lot to make sure we get a septic system, and then Water Supply District number 6 did a hydraulic study to determine that meters could be added. Smithville Fire District was sent a case review, but we did not receive any comments. And then staff is recommending approval with 2 conditions. The applicant has agreed with those conditions. There's just some minor changes to the recording copies of the plat. And then the condition that we talked about earlier, the portion of that barn that encroaches on the adjoining property shall be demolished or removed before the recording of the plat. Here again is the proposal with the 2 lots. Staff is happy to answer any questions the board members have, and the applicant is present as well.
Do any board members have any questions? No? Would the applicant please step forward and state your name and address?
Mercedes, hi. We have reviewed everything and agreed to the terms.
And what is your street address?
908 Regency Drive, Kearney, Missouri, 64060.
And do you have anything to present to support your case?
That we are going to take the lean-to down?
Okay. All right. Do you understand the staff's report?
We do.
And do you have any other questions?
We do not.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Does the board have any questions or discussion?
We'll go I'm sure you'll get there, but we'll go to public comment in favor and then public comment in opposition.
Okay.
If
Is there
any.
anyone in the audience that would like to comment that supports the application being heard? Is there anyone in the audience that would like to comment that opposes the application being heard? All right, if there's no further board discussion, I would call for a motion to approve the preliminary plat.
And we'll do rezoning first,
Rezoning first.
then preliminary with conditions.
Call for a motion to approve the rezoning.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Roll call vote.
David Rotis.
Yes.
Mike Brinkley.
Yes.
Terry Griffin.
Yes.
And Brad Scarlett.
Yes.
Motion carries.
And call for a motion to approve the preliminary plat with conditions.
Move to approve with conditions.
Second.
Roll call vote.
David Rotis.
Yes.
Mike Brinkley.
Yes.
Terry Griffin.
Yes.
And Brad Scarlett.
Yes.
Motion carries.
The next case we're going to hear tonight is case number February 23-110F. A request for final plat approval for the proposed subdivision of McKinley Family Farm located at approximately 16918C Highway. Can we have a staff report, please?
Yes, we'd like to add the staff report as part of the official record.
Yes.
So this is the final plat for McKinney Family Farm. So going to be really quick on this one. Basically, Section 151-3.6D of the 2011 Land Development Code states that if the preliminary matches an approved, or if the final plat matches an approved preliminary plat, then that final plat should be approved. Staff believes that this final plat is compliant, and we are recommending approval with the same two conditions that the applicant has agreed to. Here is the final plat, and Lot 1, the 19 acres, this indicates the ALP. Lot 2 with the 5 acres with the ALP, so we think it's exactly like the preliminary plat. And I will add that Tom Decker asked about the ALP being put on the final plat. We're going to start doing that. We could not find anything in the code that said we couldn't do that, and I just think it's a better protocol to follow, so if anybody pulls up the final plat, they can see where that ALP is located. So that's a change for this month as well. But staff is happy to answer any questions, and the applicant is present.
Does anybody on the board have a question? Would the applicant please step forward and state your name and address, please?
Mercedes McKinney, 908 Regency Drive, Kearney, Missouri, 64060.
Do you understand the staff's report?
I do.
Do you have any questions?
No.
Thank you. If there's no other board discussion, is there anyone in the audience that would like to comment in support of? Is there anyone in the audience that would like to comment that opposes the application? I call for a motion to approve the final plat with conditions.
Move to approve with conditions.
Second.
Roll call.
David Rotis,
Yes.
Mike Brinkley,
Yes.
Terry Griffin,
Yes.
Brad Scarlett.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Next case we're going to hear tonight is case number February 23-111RZ/P, a request for rezoning from agricultural district to residential ranchette R5 district with an agricultural land preservation overlay district, and preliminary plat approval for the proposed subdivision, Baker Acres. Can we have the staff report, please?
Chairman, I'd like to add the staff report as part of the official record.
Yes.
All right, so this is the proposed subdivision, Baker Acres. As you can see here, it currently sets as one parcel that is 55 plus acres. It's unplatted, zoned agricultural, and it has access coming off of Missouri City Road. You can see here that little blue mark that came up. That is a blue line stream that comes through this property. The proposal on the Baker Acres is going to be a total of 2 lots. Lot 1 being the 5 acres that will be platted, zone residential ranchette or R5. It will also include an agricultural land preservation. The lot here in the red is where the existing house is on. That green mark that came up there, that's going to be your agricultural land preservation, the area they decided to pick out of the proposed lot, and I'll talk more about that in a little bit. The remaining acreage, the stuff that's there in the red is going to be it's going to be 50 plus acres, so we don't have to plat that, and it will be zone agricultural. Again, their access is coming off of Missouri City Road. As Kip spoke about in the previous case, part of our job is to be sure, there's a few things we look at. One of the big things is we want to be sure there's enough road frontage there. With this, they got plenty of road frontage, so we didn't see any issues with that. Another big thing, and Kip also hit on, was the WIP to death ratio. And with the lot, this shape, we didn't see any issues with it. It meets what we require. This is going to be the surrounding area. Where that orange mark came up, that's where the subject property's at. Over to the east, over to the west here is going to be the city limits of Liberty. You can see all this R1 zone land around Ferris Farm out to the northeast here. This is a case that we heard. This would have been back in, when I say that, it's September of 21. And then that would be the proposed lot there coming off of Missouri City Road. Per our comprehensive plan and land development code, this property falls under the rural density tier. It meets the exception of 20-acre minimum, it meets the exception to the 20-acre minimum, 5+ acre lots with an agricultural land preservation. That's what this property put on theirs, was the agricultural land preservation. Again, the land development code, the approval criteria we look at, we don't believe that it's correcting an error or inconsistency, but it does meet the challenge of a changing condition in the area. We believe that it is consistent with the comprehensive plan based on the addition of the agricultural land preservation. Development that is compatible with the existing uses. We believe this lot size meets a lot of the similar surrounding areas. Another part of our process, and I'll address again, is we reach out to, or we have the applicant reach out to outside agencies to be sure that they can get these proper approvals, that they can create this buildable lot. They were able to provide these, letters of recommendation and approvals. And then the result, significant adverse impacts on other property in the vicinity. We didn't see any issues regarding that condition. Per staff recommendation, as of creating this PowerPoint or the finishing of the staff report, we haven't received any opposition leading up to this meeting. We published it in the newspaper, posted a sign on the site, sent out 35 certified letters. We had 0 objections from the outside agencies, which include the Highway Department, Health Department, their local water district, and then that Fishing River Fire District. We're recommending an approval with one condition. The applicant agrees with the conditions, and that condition deals with changes to the recording copies of the plat. Staff would be happy to answer any questions the commissioners might have, and the applicants are present.
Anyone on the board have a question? Would the applicant please step forward? Please state your name and full address.
Robert Baker, 607 Spruce Avenue, Liberty, Missouri, 64068.
Do you have anything that you would like to add?
No.
Do you understand the staff's report?
Yes, I do.
Do you have any questions?
I just have one question. There's an existing gate up there, and I have not heard back from the Highway Department if that's where I can access the property from. But other than that, no.
Okay. Sarah, do you have any comment on that?
I don't have that information with me tonight. You can call the Highway Department and talk to Justin, and he
Yeah.
can tell you for sure. He went out there, he's the one that actually did the
Yeah, I've talked to
investigation.
him about it, yeah.
If he told you you can get a driveway, he did not tell me specifically where the driveway will be.
Okay, all right, cool.
And can I add something, Chairman, just because on Missouri City Road, everybody knows Missouri City Road, we've had concerns about locations of driveways, things like that. So at this point, the Highway Department has looked at this 5 acres, said there is a location, there is a safe location on that 5 acres to get an access point, but the specific point will not be determined until they actually pull that driveway permit through the Highway Department, which that driveway permit will be part of the submittal package that the property owner will have to submit to my department to be able to get a building permit. So that's kind of just the background on that process.
Okay. Do you understand that?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I paid enough money to y'all, so more money to whoever it needs to go to, I guess.
Well, basically, once you get the building permit, then they'll approve the exact
Okay.
location for the driveway. I
That's
believe,
the
and
other way-
please-
It's the other way around. We
I'm
approve
sorry.
the exact location before he can get the building permit.
So, okay, so when they submit,
Yeah.
it has to be approved before the
Right.
building
After the
permit
plat,
can be
yeah.
issued. Until then, Kip, he can continue to use the existing access point.
Yes.
Yes, and you are correct. We will take some money from you for the building
Oh,
permit.
I know, you
so
have taken
And the
enough.
driveway.
You got to write a check.
All right.
Please remember this board is voluntary, so. Does the board have any questions or comments? No. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to comment in support of the application being heard? Please state your name and full address.
My name is Patrick Rendon, and I live at 8315 Nebo Hills Road, which is around the corner, southeast corner of Nebo Hills and Missouri City Road, Richfield Road, Northeast 84th Street, right there. And there is an existing gate up there, and there's a lot of traffic on that corner. So that would be the only concern, is if that gate is moved from there, there's an awful lot of traffic on there. So that would be the only, if that gate was moved, there's a lot of traffic because it's down the hill, and there's a lot of traffic down there. And anything other than that, that place where it's at is an ideal place for a gate. But if it gets anywhere down below that hill, there's a lot of traffic. I mean, that's a perfect place for a gate.
Sir,
But if any driveway accesses,
Address the board if you
yes,
don't mind.
any other place down below that where it's at is extremely dangerous because there's a lot of traffic. It's on a curve, and it gets down below. So that's that would be my only concern, is if it gets any place other than where it's at is the only place.
If I could say something, before the driveway's permit is issued, the highway department will go out and look at the site. There are specific standards that we have based on the speed limits on the road, where the curves are, where the hills are, and so forth and so on, and that will not be permitted at any location that's not safe. So whether it moves or whether it doesn't, I can't say at this point because I don't have all that information in front of me, but we are very careful about where we place those driveways.
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak in support of the motion?
Good evening.
Is this in
My name's
support
Ray
of the
Downing.
motion?
My name's Ray Downing. I live at 19426 Missouri City Road. I have no objections at all. Baker family, welcome to the neighborhood. But I did recognize something that someone ought to pay attention to. This gentleman just showed that area west of the creek and south of the line, as you can see, was all going to be annexed. It does not match the communication that was sent to us. And that map doesn't show the power line. Now, do I think it's relevant? No, but I do think that this map shows a different picture, and I just noticed that he showed that whole area, and go back to the purple. There you go. That 5 acres and the area that he's showing colored is significantly larger.
So can I address that, Chairman?
Yes, please.
So please keep in mind that we are doing this PowerPoint freehand on our computer, so it is not exact. This is not survey grade accurate. The plat itself is the official document that will be recorded, but we just do this because we feel that it helps the commissioners and the audience picture what is occurring. But this, you're correct. This is not 100% accurate.
Okay.
The plat is the official document.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the audience who would like to comment that opposes the motion being heard?
Patty Rendon, 8315 Nebo Hills Road. So I just have a question, because so does it make it a ranchette if it is anything over 5 acres? So that 0.1 of an acre is enough to make it a ranchette, is that true?
Kip, can you answer that?
Yes, sure. So residential ranchette is our zoning district for anything from 5.00 to 9.99.
Right.
But really, there's not a big difference between residential ranchette and residential rural, which is R1. There's not a big difference there.
But there is a big difference between agriculture and ranchette.
Not for my zoning regulation, or not for the county zoning regulations, there's not.
Okay.
The biggest difference between ag zoning and residential is if you're 20-plus acres and zoned agricultural, you can have unlimited animals. And then if you're 10 acres and bigger and zoned R1, you're allowed different types of fences.
Right.
So there's
Yes.
some fencing differences if you go less than 10 acres.
Yes.
But the county used to have a rule that if you were zoned residential, you couldn't put your accessory building in front of the house.
Right.
But that rule no longer exists,
Okay.
so that one's gone. So
Okay.
there are a few, what I would consider smaller differences, but not massive differences in my opinion.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone else in the audience have a comment? Would the applicant like to step forward? Would you like to respond to any of the comments that you've heard tonight?
Nope.
Thank you.
All right.
Board have any questions or comments? I call for a motion to approve the rezoning.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Roll call?
David Rotis,
Yes.
Mike Brinkley,
Yes.
Terry Griffin,
Yes.
and Brad Scarlett.
Yes.
Motion carries.
And can we have a motion to approve the preliminary plat with conditions?
Move to approve conditions.
Second.
Roll call vote?
David Rotis.
Yes.
Mike Brinkley.
Yes.
Terry Griffin.
Yes.
Brad Scarlett.
Yes.
Motion carries.
The next case to be heard is case number February 23-112F, a request for final plat approval of the subdivision Baker Acres. Can we have the staff report, please?
Chairman, I'd like to have the staff report as part of the official record.
Yes.
All right, so this is going to be the final plat for Baker Acres. Again, this is going to be a lot shorter version than what was previous. It follows the section 151-3.6D of the 2011 Land Development Code. We believe it's compliant with the preliminary. And again, staff recommendation is for approval with one condition, and the applicant agrees with the condition. Obviously, the applicants are here, and staff would be happy to answer any questions the board may have.
Does anyone on the board have a question? Would the applicant please step forward and state your name and full address?
Robert Baker, 607 Spruce Avenue, Liberty, Missouri, 64068.
Do you understand the staff's report?
Yes.
Do you have any questions?
No.
Thank you. Is there anyone in the public that would like to speak in support of? Is there anyone that in the audience that would like to speak that opposes the applicant? I call for a motion to approve the final plat with condition.
Motion to approve with conditions.
Second.
Roll call vote, please.
David Rotis.
Yes.
Mike Brinkley.
Yes.
Terry Griffin.
Yes.
Brad Scarlett.
Yes.
Motion carries.
The next case that we're going to hear tonight is February 23-113A, a request for approval of the 2022 zoning map. Kip, is this you?
No, luckily it's Shane.
Shane. Sorry, Shane. Please proceed with the report.
Yeah, Chairman, I'd like to have the staff report as part of the official record.
Yes.
All right, so this is our standard yearly zoning map amendment. Again, we update this once a year. This was approved back in April of last year. This gets published to the county website, and then we also have a hard copy at the Planning and Zoning Office. We're recommending approval, and
And I'll just add that this is just the rezonings that were approved by the county commission for 2022. So nothing has changed that was not approved by the county commission.
Does anybody on the board have a question? Do we need to call for public comment?
Yes.
Is there anybody in the audience that would like to ask a question or make a comment? I would move, call for a motion to approve the request for approval of the 2022 zoning map.
Move to approve.
Second.
Roll call vote?
David Rotis,
Yes.
Mike Brinkley,
Yes.
Terry Griffin,
Yes.
Brad Scarlett.
Yes.
Motion carries.
The last case to be heard tonight, February 23-114A, public hearing for approval of revisions to the Clay County Planning and Zoning Commission bylaws. The applicant is Clay County. Is there a report for this, Kip?
Yes, and would like to add the report as part of the official record.
Yes.
But this is going to be the easiest report yet. So in your staff report, we included the bylaws as they exist. So my goal with this first meeting is just have you, between now and next month, read them. If you have, we don't want to change everything. We just want to clean them up because they haven't really been looked at since 2003. The one thing that I will add is I would like to consider moving the meetings from 6:30 to 6. So if you have input on that, let me know. But if you have suggestions, let me know between now and next month's meeting. I'm not saying there's not going to be major changes to them, but I don't have enough information at this point to really present you a case. And I should have more information for you next month. But if something sticks out to you, let us know. But our request at this point is just to continue this to next month's meeting. And we're happy to answer any questions you have.
Does anybody on the board have a question at this point? I move for a motion, or a request for a motion to approve
Do
a,
we need to do public comment? Just,
sorry, I thought we were going to do the discussion next month, but public discussion this time.
we'll take, if there is public discussion, take it.
Does anyone in the audience have any questions or comments regarding the revisions to the Clay County Planning and Zoning Commission bylaws? Move for a motion for continuance to next month's meeting.
Make a motion to continue.
Second.
Roll call vote?
David Rotis,
Yes.
Mike Brinkley,
Yes.
Terry Griffin,
Yes.
and Brett Scarlett.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Are there any other comments, Kip?
I just have a couple things. The cases from last month, which included Quail Run, Creekside Ridge, Deer Run, the replat in Private Gardens, and the replat in Waterfall Manor were all approved by the County Commission. We do, yesterday was an application deadline. We do have a couple cases, so we will have a meeting next month. If something changes with that, we will let you know. And I think that's all staff has.
Okay. Anything from legal counsel? No? Then I would say the meeting is adjourned.